Hey everybody, Jason Ladani here, and about a week ago I asked for you guys to ask me some questions, and it's a week later, so I'm going to answer those questions, and by doing that, we're going to offend people on the internet. From Jonathan, what's your favorite routine by Darwin Ortiz? And that is another difficult question to answer. I can't really narrow down a single routine because each one teaches something so amazing. And it teaches us something a little different, you know? So the guy was just a genius, and they're all, and to also have that many different routines that all teach something amazing. If I had a gun to my head, Hitchcock Aces maybe, but other routines that I'm not mentioning are so much more advanced. So it's difficult to answer that question. Can you say hi to my hamster? His name is Leo. Greetings from Italy. What's up, Leo? How you doing, bro? Since your hands are a critical part of your livelihood, do you do anything special to keep them protected? Avoiding certain activities. Well, I went skiing once when I was like 20 or whatever, and I broke both thumbs. I have hairline fractures in my thumbs. So no, I certainly don't want to do anything like that because you risk your entire career. But I do... I think what keeps my hands in shape is playing piano and guitar because that I just enjoy doing it, but it keeps my fingers moving, and I think that's important to just constantly have that mobility, independence in fingers, and keep that training up. So yeah, I don't think I'll be juggling chainsaws anytime soon, but I do enjoy working with my hands, and I do enjoy practicing guitar and piano and keeping everything active. What's your favorite animal? Well, I think that's pretty clear. Dogs. Dogs are just the best thing ever. They really are. They're just the expressiveness, the playfulness. They're perfect. They really are. From Michael, if you could rewind and change any moment in your life, what would that be? Michael, it would be reading your comment. From a different Michael, Michael Glenn, favorite watch? Again, impossible to answer. How can you have a favorite? It's like picking a favorite kid. But I will do some videos. A lot of people have asked, so I'll do like maybe a watch review video and see how it goes. From Will, what's your favorite crowd moment at a live show? Well, some of my absolute favorite moments is when I get some sort of heckle troll question middle of the show, like show us the top card or shuffle those cards or do something. And then I tell the guy, well, $100, I'll do that. They walk up on stage, they give me $100, they shuffle the cards, or they cut the cards, or they look at the top card or whatever, and they just lose the money. And then they go sit down. That's my favorite, that really is. And then also, this year, we had a wedding proposal in Indianapolis, and I thought that was really amazing. But that's constantly changing. I just love that when somebody says something, well, show us the top 5 cards or something. You say, all right, well, give me $100. They come up, slam the money down, there's the 5 cards, sit down. It never gets old. What is the card trick that took the longest to get the hang of? Well, I wouldn't say it's a card trick. It's more of a move. But the bottom deal and the center deal, those two really, and even the second deal, I would say that the false deals took the longest to get good. And then you have to continue to maintain them. They don't just get good and you're done. You need constant maintenance. So false deals, I would say. From Bonesaw Poker, at your live shows, are the seats in the way back hard to see the action? No, they're not. There's not a bad seat in the house. So what we do at our live shows is we have a giant screen, like huge, like the size of a wall, right behind me that zooms right into my hands. So you could sit all the way in the back and you're not going to miss a single thing. So we made it so that it does not matter where you sit in the venue. You're going to get a good seat. The best seats, we pull people right from the show to sit at the table as well. And I think those would be the best seats in the house, but anywhere else to sit is fine. Has there ever been a trick that you worked out in your head but could never figure out a method to make it work? I wouldn't say I've never figured out a method. What happens usually is, everything's solvable. That's just the truth. And I have several methods. Ed Marlowe had the same thing. You read an Ed Marlowe book, there's 10 different ideas for how to get the job done. And so I have that same thing where I have the effect in my mind, and I have maybe 5 or 6 very valid ways to get done. And you just have to perform them in front of an audience to figure out which is the best route to go. And as you're performing it, you can start to fine tune it to figure out which is the best way to go. But the bottom line is nothing's really impossible. And there's still things in my mind, there's still a few things that I've been working on over the years that I really can't make up my mind. It's just because not one's better than the other. It's kind of 50-50. You make some sacrifices and it works out this way, or you sacrifice something else and it works out this way. So it really is 50-50, and you just have to commit which one am I going to go with. Have you ever cheated at cards using these skills? No. What? Take money off somebody else? No. From Kevin, do casinos watch their dealers to make sure they're not cheating, or teach their staff to watch for it? Yes, actually, my teacher, Darwin Ortiz, was one of those guys that would go around the country, go around the world, and lecture to casinos and have a course that dealers were required to take, and expose all the methods of teaching. And people like Darwin, there was several people that did that, are actually the reason why certain casino procedures are in place today. And if something happens and there's a case where somebody moves on a table, they'll bring in an expert and they'll sit down and they'll watch and confirm that, yes, this person was doing this type of dealing. And the casinos are watching their players and watching their dealers to make sure that cheating isn't happening, of course. What brand and string gauge do you use on your guitars? I use D'Addario strings. I use 11, 14, 18, 26, 36, 48, or 50, depending on the guitar. On a Strat, I do like a 52 for the low E. But that is the gauge that I use, and it's a standard tuning, and that's that. I think that 11s do give you a full, rich tone. That 8s and 9s, I think, are a little thin, a little less sustained. There's people that will argue that, but in my mind, if I take a guitar and put 9s on it, I'm going to hear a thinner tone. That's just my ear. From Nick. Nick is asking about what guitars and gear and such. I have a lot of Gibson. I'm a Gibson guy. I go back and forth between Gibson and Fender a lot, but I have a handful of Les Pauls, a 335, Flying V. I have a couple of Tellys. I have 3 or 4 Strats, and an SG. I have whatever guitar I'm forgetting. The poor guy. There's one guitar on my rack now going, bro, what's up? But those are the guitars I enjoy. I really do like Gibson and Fender guitars, so I don't venture out into PRS or Ibanez or whatever. So, and then for an amp, I have a Bruno, and those are custom Bruno. And then I have a Princeton Super. So very, very traditional stuff, because that gives me the sound from the players that I want. So that's why I play those guitars. Period correct amp and a period correct guitar, you're going to sound like Otis Rush, So that that's the secret is, if you want to sound like the guys that you listen to, if it's blues, well, buy the same guitar, buy the same amp, and you'll sound like them. It's pretty simple, but that's the truth. From Steven, what brand and style of cards do you prefer to work with? These right here. Bicycle Riderback, they're in like almost every video. These same ones you get at your local grocery store. Those are the cards that I grew up learning on, and those are the cards that they just feel right in my hands, and I don't really like anything else. Is there a specific trick that pushed you to your limits and you became overwhelmed with trying to perfect it? I would say the card catch and the poker chip. Both of those I obsessed over, to the point that I was like, throwing cards across the room when I couldn't. I practiced too much. Even I talked to Darwin about it, and I said, what's this mean? And he says, you're practicing too much. Leave it alone. Put it down. So those were very frustrating, but eventually you get them. But you got to understand that it's like working out in the gym. It doesn't come overnight. You can want it all you want, but it just doesn't happen. You have to stay with it. So Darwin reminded me that just stay with it and you'll get it. Am I coming to London? Yes. Last time I was in London was 2018. I performed at the Magic Circle, and I also did a lecture there, so it's definitely time to come back. But yes, I'll be in London. We're going to be in Australia. We have in Toronto. We're going to be all over the place, and we're booked out now until about, I would say, August or September of 2025, and we're constantly adding dates. So I noticed a lot of the questions were, the majority of the questions were, when are you going to be here or when are you going to be there? So keep an eye on my tour schedule, which is on my website. About every couple of weeks, we're adding new tour dates, and I'll see you in whatever place you want me to come perform for you. Anyway, I appreciate the questions. That was a lot of fun, and that's about it. We'll do another Ask Me Anything down the road, but thank you for your questions. Thank you, and good night.